A settlement in principle has been reached in the lawsuit against Cody Rhodes, WWE, and Fanatics over a trademark dispute regarding the American Nightmare trademark. Obafemi returns last night on WWE NXT and seemingly has his sights set on once again becoming the NXT champion. All this and more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with details regarding the lawsuit over a trademark issue regarding the American Nightmare trademark. Now, an undisclosed settlement has been reached in principle over the lawsuit filed by Wesley Isold against Cody Rhodes, real name Cody Rhodes, WWE, and Fanatics. Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling has reported that the parties notified the California Federal Court on Tuesday, November 11th, that an agreement had been reached to resolve the dispute over the American Nightmare trademark. A written settlement agreement still needs to be executed, but the parties have asked for the court to stay the case while that process is finalized. A joint stipulation to dismiss the case is expected to be made within 90 days. Wesley Isold, the lead singer of the band American Nightmare, sued Cody Rhodes, WWE, and Fanatics in November 2024, alleging trademark infringement, breach of contract, and intentional interference with contractual relations. Isold holds the American Nightmare trademark for music, clothing, and entertainment services. Isold and Cody Rhodes previously reached an agreement in March 2021, when Rhodes was part of AEW, that Cody could use American Nightmare on merchandise under the stipulation that Rhodes' name, likeness, or wrestling-related imagery was at least 75% larger than the American Nightmare text. Isold also received a one-time payment of $30,000 from Rhodes. Within the 2024 lawsuit, Isold claimed that WWE, Rhodes, and Fanatics had violated the deal he made with Rhodes by selling merchandise which failed to meet the conditions of the 2021 agreement. The lawsuit also claimed there was confusion in the marketplace over American Nightmare. Fanatics and WWE, with Rhodes supporting the motion, filed to dismiss the lawsuit shortly after it was filed. The parties have been engaged in settlement negotiations for the past several months. As part of the lawsuit, Isold was seeking damages of at least $150,000, as well as treble damages of up to $300,000 over federal trademark infringement. Of course, if we get any more details on just what numbers could be involved in this settlement, or if they're at least even made public, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, Obafemi is back in WWE NXT. The Ruler is back in the mix. Headlining the November 11th edition of NXT on the CW was a last man standing match for the NXT Championship. The champion, Ricky Saints, defended against Trick Williams. The closing sequence of the match saw Saints spear Williams off the barricade and through the announce table. Before the 10 count, Williams was able to get onto his knees, but Saints shoved him back down and allowed the referee to continue the count and retain his NXT Championship. While Saints was in the ring recuperating, the theme music of former NXT champion Obafemi hit, and he appeared. Before Femi could make his full entrance, the show went off the air. Femi lost the NXT Championship to Ricky Saints at the No Mercy Premium Live event. Now, the NXT Tag Team titles will be on the line. Ever since Dark State crashed Leon Slater and Javon Evans' X Division Championship match at TNA Bound for Glory, the two sides have been at odds. Evans took to the ring on the November 11th NXT on the CW to make an announcement. He stated that X Division champion Leon Slater was not in attendance, so he would appear via video. Evans revealed he and Slater will be challenging Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships on week 1 of NXT Gold Rush. Dark State showed up while Evans was alone in the ring, and Slater watched via video. While Dark State had Evans surrounded, Evans revealed that Slater was present at the Performance Center, and Slater jetted to the ring to help Evans fight off their Gold Rush opponents. Now, speaking of Gold Rush, Sol Ruca is cleared for her upcoming title match. As a result of an injury, Sol Ruca is no longer in possession of the Women's North American Championship and the Women's Speed Championships. On the North American title front, she allowed her partner Zarya to defend the title on her behalf against Blake Monroe at Halloween Havoc. Monroe ended up defeating Zarya to become the new champion. Ruca opted to relinquish the Women's Speed title after that. She is now cleared to compete and went to NXT General Manager Ava's office to run that over with her. Ruka was stern about getting her rematch for the Women's North American title as soon as possible. Ava then locked that match in for week 1 of NXT Gold Rush at the theater at Madison Square Garden. It'll be the first title match between Monroe and Ruka, as Ruka herself did not actually lose the title to Monroe. Now, speaking of speed titles, there's a brand new men's speed champion. The first championship match on the bill for last night's episode of NXT on the CW was the WWE men's speed title match. El Grande Americano put his title on the line against WWE LFG Season 1 co-winner Jasper Troy. Before the 5-minute bout was up, Troy defeated Americano to capture the title. The loss ended Americano's reign at 191 days. Jasper Troy now joins Americano, Dragon Lee, Andrade, and Ricochet on the list of WWE Men's Speed Champions. Keeping with the speed concept here, we now know who's going to be facing off for the Women's Speed Championship. With Sol Ruka relinquishing the title due to injury, a tournament was set up to determine the new WWE Women's Speed Champion. The first round matches saw Zarya defeat Ren Sinclair, and on the November 11th NXT, Fallon Henley bested WWE LFG Season 2 co-winner Skylar Ray. It is now official that Henley and Zarya are set to meet in the tournament finals for the WWE Women's Speed Championship. Their match will take place on week 2 of NXT Gold Rush on November 25th. Keeping with this Gold Rush event, the Evolve Women's Championship is also going to be on the line, with fellow Fatal Influence members Jacy Jayne and Fallon Henley having title matches scheduled for the 2-week NXT Gold Rush special. Lainey Reed set up a plan to get herself a title match. On last night's NXT, Reed walked up to Evolve Women's Champion Kendall Gray and slapped her. A title match between them was then set up for NXT Gold Rush Week 2 on November 25th. Gray is the second Evolve Women's Champion. She ended Kylie Armstrong's 140-day reign. Gray has had one successful title defense thus far, and that was against Lash Legend, who of course recently got called up to the main roster. The NXT Women's Championship is also going to be on the line. The theater at Madison Square Garden is playing host to the 2-week NXT Gold Rush special on November 18th and 25th. As last night's episode of NXT was ongoing, 2 title matches joined the show's lineups. The NXT Women's Championship will be up for grabs as Tatum Paxley is going to defend the title against Jacy Jayne. Jayne and Fatal Influence approached the culling in the ring. She inquired about a rematch for the title, but Izzy was trying to talk Paxley out of it, and Paxley ended up agreeing to defend on week 1 of Gold Rush. Cameras cut backstage to General Manager Ava's office, where she was with Evolve Men's Champion Jackson Drake and fellow members of Vanity Project. It was stated that he'll defend the title against Sean Legacy at Gold Rush as well. Now let's switch over to WWE Monday Night Raw and talk about the viewership information for last week's show. WWE Raw may now be on Netflix instead of regular old cable, but it hasn't changed the fact that Monday Night Football has taken a chunk out of its viewership this fall. Save for the October 20th episode, the Red brand has found itself struggling with its numbers ever since the middle of September, finding itself in the 2.3 to 2.4 million views a week range. And shocker of all shockers, it's a trend that wasn't going to be bucked at the start of November. WrestleNomics reports that the November 3rd edition of Raw drew 2.4 million views over the course of the week. This keeps Raw in the range that it has been during Monday Night Football season, and is also an improvement over the October 27th episode, which drew in 2.3 million views. Another improvement came in the form of hours viewed at 5.2 million, up from 4.6 million. It's the highest amount of hours viewed Raw has had since September 15th, when the show had 5.3 million hours viewed. Despite the numbers, Raw had arguably its worst week in recent memory when it came to its placement on Netflix's global and domestic rankings. In the former, Raw placed only 9th, down from its 8th place ranking a week ago. It's the first time Raw has found itself in 9th place or lower in a month, and only the second time the Red brand has found itself that low since the end of June. Domestically, Raw placed 6th, down from placing 4th the previous 2 weeks. The first Raw of November featured the first appearance in some time of former United States champion Logan Paul, and he was plenty active during the show, confronting new WWE World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk, brawling with the Vision's Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed alongside Punk, and then later siding with the Vision at the end of the show. Now, of course, we've got Survivor Series coming up, and it's set to feature a men's and women's War Games match. Now, on Raw, a former NXT general manager William Regal made the men's War Games match Survivor Series official in a backstage segment, as CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso will enter battle with Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul. With 3 competitors confirmed for each side, it's expected that both teams will be joined by 2 other stars in the near future. And in recent edition of the Wrestling Observer radio show, Dave Meltzer shared that the additional participants in the match could be revealed as early as next Monday's Raw at Madison Square Garden. Quote, I think Roman Reigns will probably show up at the Garden. I think Brock Lesnar will probably show up at the Garden. You know, Lesnar on the heel side, Roman on the babyface side, and then you'd have one more spot for probably Jimmy Uso. Makes the most sense. Meltzer also believes that Rhodes replaced Jacob Fatu on the babyface team for Survivor Series, as the American Nightmare was reportedly not listed in the original plans for War Games. Last month, the Samoan Werewolf was attacked backstage in order to write him off television so he could undergo surgery for a non-wrestling related issue, which was later revealed to be a dental procedure. It was initially believed that Fatu could possibly recover in time for Survivor Series, but with Rhodes joining Punk and Uso last night, it's likely he'll be on the sidelines for the remainder of November. Now, when it comes to the Women's War Games match, of course, that seemingly was set up on Raw, where a returning Rhea Ripley and Io Sky confirmed to be joining Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair to take on Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. On Tuesday's Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed who the final 2 participants in the Women's War Games match could be. He revealed that at one point there was a plan for 2 major women's stars to lead the babyface and heel teams at War Games, though he wasn't sure if that was still the case. Quote, on the women's side, AJ Lee and Becky Lynch were going to be the captains, Meltzer said, so they could still be added, but in the end, that would have to happen next week. But we know 8 of the people, which would be Lash Legend, Nia Jax, and the Kabuki Warriors, and Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. So there's one spot left, and like I said, originally it was going to be Lynch. If it's Lynch wrestling, Maxine Dupree, so there will probably going to be an angle coming out of next week's match at the Garden if she's still going to be in the Survivor Series match. Lee and Lynch's inclusion in the match would continue the rivalry between the two, which started upon Lee's return to WWE in early September. It would also be Lee's first match since WrestlePalooza, where she and husband CM Punk defeated Lynch and her husband Seth Rollins. Now, let's talk about NXT once again, and an upcoming live event tour is going to feature some main roster stars. From November 13th through 15th, WWE NXT talents will be on the road for a series of house shows. The tour dates and locations are listed as follows. November 13th is going to be in St. Paul, Minnesota. November 14th is going to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And November 15th is in Chicago, Illinois. As the November 11th edition of NXT on the CW was ongoing, it was revealed that WWE main roster talents would be in action on the tour. The names added to the tour are Sheamus, Lara Valkyria, Grayson Waller, Otis, and JD McDonough. Now, a bit of an update here when it comes to WWE PLE names. Now, Mark Shapiro made some headlines recently talking about getting away from the names created by Vince McMahon. But according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, WWE is not getting rid of their biggest events, at least not anytime in the near future. TKO's Mark Shapiro said that TKO needs to get in the business of, quote, taking the torch and moving past that, end quote, in regards to PLEs created by Vince McMahon. This led to a number of fans wondering if WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, or the like could be replaced by something different or new. When speaking to a WWE higher-up, according to Fightful, they said that the belief is that this is primarily for other monthly events as opposed to the tentpole franchises that were aforementioned. Specifically, they said that, quote, Saudi Arabia isn't paying for WrestlePalooza. They're paying for WrestleMania, and the value of that name and brand is the reason for that, end quote. Now, Fightful reported earlier this year that WWE was hoping to turn WrestlePalooza into a major annual event. In addition, the hope is they can build it into a marquee level to help supplement domestic ticket sales and site fees whenever a major event like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, or Money in the Bank end up going somewhere overseas. In addition, that same WWE higher-up noted that Indianapolis and New Orleans had future events committed to them under WrestleMania and SummerSlam banners beyond what is already announced. Now, next Monday's Raw is going to be from Madison Square Garden, and it's also going to be John Cena's final ever appearance as an active in-ring superstar on the Red brand. John Cena is set to make his final appearance on WWE Raw on Monday, November 17th, from Madison Square Garden in New York. Netflix put out the following press release to promote the event, saying, quote, this Monday night witnessed the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell, celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Don't miss John Cena's farewell moment, Monday Night Raw, November 17th, only on Netflix. Now, Adam Copeland. People are talking about Adam Copeland. Is he going to show up in John Cena's retirement tour? Well, he's not. But he's not going to be back on AEW television anytime soon either. The former Edge has been away from AEW TV since the post-All Out episode of Dynamite in September, having told Christian Cage he needed to step away and find himself after he watched FTR take out Beth Phoenix following Cope and Christian's victory over FTR at the pay-per-view. Cope stepped away from AEW due to the filming of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, but he is now filming another project. According to PW Insider, Copeland has been spotted in London, England due to filming on The Beekeeper 2, and the former AEW TNT champion will be working on the project for the majority of November. Filming for The Beekeeper 2, an action movie starring Jason Statham as a retired government assassin, began around 1 month ago, and scenes for the movie were shot around Canary Wharf earlier this month. Production has since moved to Greenham Common, the area of Heathland, which is famous for the former Royal Air Force Station and the Greenham Common Women's Peace Camp. Explosions and a gigantic fireball were recently used on set for The Beekeeper 2, which resulted in concerned residents calling West Berkshire Council to find out what was going on, according to Newbury Today. And finally, a bit of an update here on Drew McIntyre, his suspension from WWE TV. Drew McIntyre may not be taking time off of WWE TV to work on a movie after all. The former World Heavyweight Champion was issued a storyline suspension by SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis on the November 7th episode of Friday Night SmackDown after McIntyre laid out a referee during Cody Rhodes vs. Aleister Black. McIntyre's actions came after Cody Rhodes used underhanded tactics to successfully defend the undisputed WWE title against McIntyre at Saturday Night's main event the prior weekend. Initial reports after McIntyre received the suspension claimed that he would be taking time off to do a movie. PW Insider, however, has reported there is nothing to McIntyre working on a movie at this time, and his suspension is just the next part of his current storyline. McIntyre has been cast in the reboot of Highlander as Angus MacLeod, the brother of Henry Cavill's Connor MacLeod. The movie does require extensive training, with Batista having revealed this month he's been training for the project since August. The reboot of Highlander doesn't begin filming until April 2026 though, and the project won't affect McIntyre's WWE creative, according to his agent, Nick Lopicolo. So there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.